It is Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It is time for Wednesday Night Mayhem right here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Hello, everybody. It's Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo and Michael Bullock as we are just coming off a pretty good AEW Dynamite, to say the very least, folks. So we got the usual AEW Dynamite, but we do start it off, as always, with NXT 2.0 that was held last night. And yeah, so we're going to just dive right on in, and we are going to start it off with our first thing of the evening, which was um, so it was Dexter Loomis going one on one with Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo does win the match in 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Apparently, at the end of the match, um, it looked like um, it looked like Dexter Loomis might have gotten hurt. Now we don't know if this is a work or if this is actually legit. I haven't heard anything as of right now from WWE or NXT. It was all right. There was really nothing to talk about. It was a match. I think it could have been a lot more longer. I think that's really the story of this entire show here tonight. Is that the matches were okay, but there was something missing. I think that's the key word. So Anthony Florio, come on in. This is about maybe 1.5 to 2. Like I said, it was a lot more shorter than it should have been.
Criminally shorter. I mean, considering the talents involved, I thought they were going to get a lot more time, to be honest with you. But of course, this has been the MO. This has been NXT 2.0's formula. You know, all of these short matches. I mean, which pile up and pile up and pile up every week. You know, but anyways, this was fine, but it should have been so much more. Dexter Loomis is a unique storyteller that could have pushed Tony D'Angelo far more. Instead, NXT 2.0 rushed through a competitive contest to give the rookie a big win. The mobster did not even get a chance to savor his win. It was more about Loomis losing and getting beat down instead. Loomis is clearly playing second fiddle to Johnny Gargano when he could have easily challenged Carmelo Hayes before or after his quote-unquote father-in-law. Dunn and Gargano will give Melo plenty of good matches in the coming months, but it's important to continue to build the talent beyond the established veterans. But there is a silver lining here. There is a payoff out of this. Carmelo Hayes is going to defend the NXT North American Championship against both Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne in a triple threat match next week. Finally, a match that has show stealer potential on what has otherwise become a floundering mess as of late. So, 1.5 to 2. That's the best I can go with this. So, not much really more to say here. So, Michael Bullock, at least we got a payoff out of this. Hayes, Dunn, Gargano, triple threat, North American title. That, and I'm serious, this has potential.
Yeah, it has potential, but no, I really hope so. But with the way these shows have been going, Florio, I'm not. Well, there's a saying, I'll believe it when I see it. But I think they can do it, but I don't know. But yeah, 1.5 to 2 is the best I can give it. This is criminally short. With the talents of these two, they should have gotten much more time. But what else would you expect when with the way this NXT 2.0 has been run lately? So yeah, so there's really nothing more to add to it. So Fletch, it's yours.
All right. So the next thing that we had on the show, was the Diamond Mine, Roderick Strong and the Creed brothers. They went up against Odyssey Jones and Jacket Time, uh, Jackman, Eichmann, Jano, and Koshida. And when it was all said and done, the face team wins the match in 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Anthony Florio, I know you haven't been very high on jacket time, but you have to admit, nice win for them and for Odyssey Jones over the Diamond Mine.
Absolutely. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. This feud between Roderick Strong and Odyssey Jones does nothing for the Cruiserweight division. And the Messiah of the Backbreaker has already shown he can defeat the big man one-on-one. It just feels like NXT is spinning its wheels until Diamond Mine has a fresh challenge. Kushida is a much better pairing for Strong and is still owed a rematch. However, this match barely featured the Japanese superstar. Instead, he is stuck in an odd team with Jiro, feuding with the Creed brothers, who they are highly unlikely to defeat. So I'll give this 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Solid effort. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. 2.5 stars. I mean, Kushida should have gotten some more time here. I mean, no disrespect to the others, but I'll say this as well. He has been criminally underused lately. I mean, Kushida, with the way he was built at the beginning when it was originally NXT, he had a chance to be something good. But ever since NXT 2.0, yeah, it hasn't been anything close to that. So, yeah, really got nothing more to say, Fletch. It's yours.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot more better. There's no doubt about it. It was a little bit of a letdown, but like you said, we did get somewhat of a payoff here at the end, with a nice little victory here, and it could have been a lot more better. I think we can all agree with that. But at the end of the day, I think what we saw here tonight, it served its purpose. It did. It served its purpose. It served that what it needed it to be. And like you said, we're just gonna move right on along. So the next thing that we had in this, um, after that, was we had ourselves a match. It was Exxon Quinn versus Andrew Chase. Exxon Quinn wins the match in 306. However, it wasn't that needed to be talked about. As you may know, Electra Lopez has really gotten a little fancy of Exxon Quinn, and it looks like she's trying to recruit him to Legado del Fantasma, or maybe for her own personal gain and business. Well, Exxon pretty much said no, saying, I'm not interested in partnering up. Well, I hate to say it, but she unleashed the dogs on him. Legado del Fantasma, the whole crew, Raul Mendoza, Santos Escobar, and Joaquin Wilde all ran out and jumped him, beatdown style. And Michael Bullock, Fury I guess you could say hell has no fury like a woman scorned. And when that woman scorned is a Latina, chacho, Padre, Hijo, Spirit Santo, to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's yours.
Yeah, that's you couldn't have said anything better, Fletch. I mean, yeah, I mean, when you say no to someone like Electra Lopez and what she's made of, yeah, you expect hell to be unleashed, and she sent the dogs. That was Legado del Fantasma, and all I can say is, Fletch, as I toss it along to you, when you say no to someone like her, expect hell to pay. Let that be a lesson to anyone that says no to her. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, this was beatdown city. We don't even need to talk about the match, but I'll say this: message sent, message received. Be very careful the next time you say no to Electra Lopez, because man, uh, Exxon Quinn, man, you just made an enemy out of her, and you just embarrassed. You just got embarrassed big time. That was an emphatic beatdown, and we don't see that many beatdowns nowadays on NXT 2.0. This is kind of a refreshing beatdown. Um, yeah, there's really nothing more to add. Anthony Florio, you saw it. Exxon Quinn said no to Electra Lopez about a week ago, and this time around, um, eh, the response was swift, hard, and punishing.
It's like when the girl asks you out, you say no, and that girl has 3 older brothers, and those older brothers are, bullies and powerhouses. So that's what that was. And it's like she ran and told her brothers what happened, and the brothers put a whooping on them. But that's what that is to me. But Zion Quinn, that's the man's name. It's Zion Quinn, not Exxon Quinn, but Zion Quinn will benefit massively from working with Santos Escobar. The Emperor has elevated every opponent. The rookie needs this more than anyone. And he will be elevated even if he comes out of this with a loss. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. Match, like Gorilla said at WrestleMania 6 to Jesse Ventura after that, during the after the intermission. And Matt, it was really nothing much to speak of. So move on.
So next up that we had on the show, after that, we had a poker match. Well, it was a game of poker. Duke Hudson versus and Cameron Grimes had a game. Grimes won the hand. He bluffed him. He bluffed him out. A classic move. Basically, something I would love, and because I'm kind of the poker guy. I love World Series of Poker. Now it's always on ESPN. The what they call the November 9. I think they just did the 2021 competition. I don't know if they determined who won it yet. But I do know that normally they do show it every year on ESPN. I don't know if they're doing it this year because of COVID, but because there was COVID concerns. I know last year I don't believe they did it or they moved it up. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, Duke Hudson did not like what Cameron Grimes did after he bluffed him out on the hand, beats him down, power bombs him through the table. Okay, that's one thing. But then he stole the man's dignity. He cutted the beard off, or tried to cut all of the beard off. He took some of the scruff off on the beard and then started to cut his hair. I don't care who you are or what it's about. The minute you touch the beard or the hair, that's a major no-no in anything, in sports, in life, whatever. That is a violation of the guy code, and Duke Hudson is going to pay with a very this is going to be a very devastating price he's about to pay for his indiscretion. We don't really need to talk about it. We could just move right on along. And so next up we had was Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Josh Briggs and Brooks Jansen. And when it was all said and done, Wagner and O'Reilly wins the match in 5 minutes. Again, it was all right. I mean, there was really nothing amazing to speak about here. This was another 2.5 star match. A little too short again, and I think that's becoming the story of the night when it comes to NXT, unfortunately, nowadays. Again, great talent in the ring, just not enough time for them to really tell a story or anything like that. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
I looked into the 2021 World Series of Poker, MF. There is one going on. They didn't do it last year, obviously, because of COVID, and it's still going on. I believe it's going to end next week. So next Tuesday, the 23rd. So that's what's going on with the World Series of Poker. 2.5 stars for this. This should have been better. Theme of the night. This should have been better. Both teams are among NXT's most highlighted, yet this contest barely got time to get going. Brooks and Jansen looked terrible losing so easily to the developing team that is struggling to find their chemistry. So there isn't really much more to say on this. So, and we saw Von Wagner. Von Wagner was in the office of Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville last Friday night on SmackDown. I wonder if he's serving as a heavy for one or both of them. That's something we're going to have to look into there, Von Wagner. So not much more to say here. 2.5 stars. Michael Bullock, theme of the show. This should have been better.
Yeah, exactly. It is the theme of the show. I mean, it should have been better, but yeah, there's really nothing more to say. 2.5 stars is my rating on this match here. I mean, with the way these teams are, this should have been a better match, but fortunately we didn't get it. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, and that does lead us to the main event of the well, actually no. It does give us into another matchup. This was Pasha. She was going up against Gabby Stevens and Jenny Levy. She wins the match. Pasha wins the match in the minute 50. Really nothing more to add on that one. Then there was a nice little promo exchange between Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker. And then it leads us to the main event of the evening, Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. Raquel Gonzalez wins the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds due to an apparent disqualification because Toxic Attraction hit the ring and jumped Raquel. But then Cora Jade and the Genius in the Sky, Io Shirai, hit the ring, and I believe Zoe Stark also hit the ring to make the save. And then Io Shirai says the two greatest words you'll ever hear in professional wrestling. And I know the minute she said this, got Anthony Floyd's juices flowing, got Michael Bullock's juices flowing, and my blood was boiling hot when I heard War Games. That's right. She proposed it. It's going to happen. The women are about to go to war. The sadistic structure with the two rings. Oh my goodness. Anthony Florio. The match, you could call it NA, but the post-fight and what happens next, finally something to talk about for NXT 2.0.
War Games. Oh, yeah. There's only one person who can do that justice, and that is Mr. Regal. Obviously, we all know that. So, even with the clunky finish, this was still the fight of the night. 3 to 3.25 stars. This might have been the only thing worth watching this week. No, this was the only thing worth watching this week. But it was good enough to sell the entire show. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai have incredible chemistry. This was as good a match as NXT has put on in a while, even with the less than satisfying finish. This always had to break down with War Games on the horizon. Toxic Attraction has dominated NXT since arriving, clearly signaling their spot as the heel side of the War Games match. It was just a matter of who would challenge them. If it would be a 4-on-4 battle, Zoe Stark would need to be healthy enough to compete, or someone will need to step up for the final spot alongside the faces. Whoever does has big shoes to fill given the impressive lineup so far. So we're looking at Toxic Attraction, Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, along with the Women's Tag Team Champions, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, and rounding out the team, Dakota Kai. And on the other side, it's looking to be Raquel Gonzalez, along with Io Shirai and Cora Jade. Now, the event is on December the 5th. That's 2 weeks from this upcoming Sunday. So we're looking at about 17, 18 days that Zoe Stark will have to, push hard to come back from her injury. That might be a bit of a reach, but if she gets cleared in time, then Zoe Stark can round out the team, and there you go. You got your 4-on-4 for the War Games. So, but if not, then who? I mean, Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, maybe Indy Hartwell. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on this, but nonetheless, though, finally there's something to get excited about in NXT after all the nonsense we've had over the last couple of months, with the exception of Halloween Havoc. Halloween Havoc was far and away the best NXT 2.0 and really the only good one. We'll get like we said, we gave a pass to the premiere because it was the first night, give it a chance and all that. But since then, it's been nothing but blech. But nothing more to say here. 3 3.25. I mean that's the best rating I could give it. Still the fight of the night though. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, finally something worth watching on this show. It took the whole damn show for us to finally get there. It was a damn marathon to get there. All that silliness and squash matches, 2 okay matches, but this was worth it. And as Mr. Regal says, War Games.
Oh yeah, I definitely cannot wait for that. I mean, yeah, 3.25 for this. I mean, it was a fine match for what it was. I mean, obviously with the Toxic Attraction, and then you had Io Shirai and Cora Jade. Yeah, this is definitely. I mean, it's setting up for War Games. I mean, like you said, Toxic Attraction. I've even said it. They are the hottest thing right now in NXT 2.0 right now. So, and yeah, I mean, I think it could be a reach for Zoe Stark to come back in 17 to 18 days, but you never know. And also, you never know is that who could be the replacement. I mean, it could be one of those that you mentioned, Florio, Casey Catanzaro or Caden Carter, or it could be someone that could catch us by surprise. Because remember, guys, when it was what was it? Oh, the War Games, when you had the Undisputed Era along with who was it? I think it was Tommaso Ciampa's team, and who was the mystery partner?
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that one really caught us all by surprise.
Holy
So
belief.
you never know. They could go down.
By our boy Mauro Ranallo, if you remember when Owens came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, so you never know. They could go down that route again, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So nothing else to say. It's time to get to our overall thoughts on, unfortunately, was another meh edition of NXT 2.0.
And I believe it actually starts with Anthony
Yeah, I
Florio.
think Anthony.
You lead off.
5 to 5.5. Another show. Main event, like I said, was the only thing worth watching. Yes, there were 2 okay matches, but other than that, all the other matches were meh. And that poker thing, snooze. And I mean, at least the main event. I mean, the main event saved this show. I mean, if it wasn't for the main event, then it obviously would have been a lot worse. But the show continues to get crappier each and every week. I just hope and pray that War Games delivers come December the 5th. So, we're gonna have to wait and see on that, but it's still a bleep show, if you know what I mean. And I'm not going to unleash hell here because we don't have the time. So not really. I could, but I'm not. So, and besides, it's not my show. Unfortunately, it's Bullock's show, and And it's so hard to believe, man. It's so hard to believe that 2 years ago, NXT dominated SmackDown and Raw in the Survivor Series. They won the Survivor Series. They won 4 matches. SmackDown won 2. Raw won 1 in 2019 in Chicago 2 years ago. And it looked like that they were going to break out, and they were going to be, you know, they were going to continue to be that fun show each and every week. They were putting together fun shows every week on the USA Network since this whole thing started. But I never would have thought 2 years later it would go from being must-see TV to why do I have to see it anyway? I don't know. Classic case of, oh, how the mighty have fallen. That's all there is to say on that. Once upon a time, they were kicking ass. They were putting together kick-ass shows damn near every week. And nowadays, they've turned into friggin' Sesame Street and Barney and Friends, for goodness sakes, with all of these cartoon characters they have here. So, out of all of the weekly wrestling shows every week, you know, Raw Monday, this on Tuesday, AEW on Wednesday, Impact on Thursday, and SmackDown on Friday, and if there's any pay-per-view, and then pay-per-view on the weekend or what have you, this one is hands down my least favorite, and it's a chore to watch every week. I sit there watching it every week, and I always say to myself when the show starts, and from show to end, I always say to myself, I cannot wait for this to be over. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. 5.5. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, what has happened in the last 2 years? 2 years ago, you guys were kicking our asses in Survivor Series, and now you've gone from a future A show to you are now literally the C show, even though you call it F for failure, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I never would have imagined 2 years ago NXT kicked ass at Survivor Series in Chicago. I never would have imagined 2 years later it would go from being the A show to the F show, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this show, and I hate to say this to you guys, and I know what I'm about to say is going to probably cause a lot of people to say, well, what? This show is an absolute shit fest. I'm sorry. I mean, you're bringing in campy comedy, characters like Andre Chase. I mean, and don't get me started on Joe Gacy, because he's such a ham and egg jabroni. I mean, I don't even know how I can even bother watching some of his matches. I mean, I feel sorry for those that were part of the original NXT. I mean, like Johnny Gargano, like Tommaso Ciampa, and all those that were part of the success of NXT, and now they have to endure this. And part of me was like, when I watch it, I can't believe what I'm saying, and I'm with you, Florio. I'm saying to myself, I cannot wait for this show to be over, because for me, it is hard for me to watch, and to the point I almost feel like I almost don't even want to watch it anymore, because it is just complete and utter bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm calling it like I see it. So if anybody wants to come after me on this, go right ahead. But you know what? It's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Period. And a quotation and a statement. 5 out of 10 for this edition of NXT 2.0, which, I'll say it again, is an absolute joke. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, or I'm not gonna deny what you guys are saying. It's bad. Um, I cannot believe this is NXT. I cannot believe this is what was Triple H's baby. I mean, think about that. Triple H was the one. He was the brain of NXT. He thought of all this. You know, yes, it was a developmental, but then they gave him the opportunity to run this company, to run the show. And to see from where it is to where it's become, I mean, my God, what a fall from grace. I mean, are you kidding me right now? I, I feel sorry. I feel so bad for Hunter and everybody who put their blood, their sweat, their tears, their everything to NXT. Um, for this to be where we're at now is absolutely, it's horrifying. It's horrible. I don't think there's really nothing more for us to even say or add or even mention. It's just, it's a bad situation that was made even worse. And now the question is what's where do we go from here? 5 out of 10, total agreement. All right, so now that we got the good out, I mean, now that we got the bad out, let's get to the good. AEW Dynamite from Norfolk, Virginia tonight at the Chartway Arena. First off, started off with a promo segment by the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Adam Hangman Page, interrupted by the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and oh boy, it turned into a very heated conversation. There was a little bit of some fisticuffs, and then Bryan Danielson went one on one with Evil Uno of the Dark Order. Bryan Danielson wins the match in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Then, after the match, called out Colt Cabana and said, "Well, because we know next week we're going to Chicago, he challenges Colt Cabana to a match." And from what I've been told, Cabana has accepted. So next week, it will be Colt Cabana one-on-one with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and he's even saying it. He is going to eliminate each member of the Dark Order before he gets to Adam Hangman Page. I don't think there's really much to talk about here. I mean, the promo segment was excellent. I loved what Hangman Page was gonna try to do, and that was, put himself so over as the AEW World Champion, which he deserves to put himself over. The 2-year odyssey, the journey, everything else. It was cool to see the Dark Order there, his friends, and guys who really stuck by him after the Elite and the whole 9 yards that broke out there. To see him win the title, they were there with them on Saturday to celebrate his title victory. But now the question becomes is, what are we going to see? And I'm so happy that this man is the world champion. I think he's going to be a great champion. And for Bryan Danielson, I got to say it, guys. You can talk about him being the heel from WWE when he was the green with the hemp belt and everything else, but this heel turn by Bryan Danielson went a little more deeper. I've seen this before, and I liked it. This was the Bryan Danielson from Ring of Honor, and trust me, this heel turn from Daniel is gonna be amazing if it's done correctly. I'll tell you, the fans turned on him quick. There was no more yes chants. Every time he did a move, they were yelling no, no, no. They were booing him in Virginia. Even Michael Bullock, you even said it yourself. This was unheard of. This was unseen. I can't believe this is actually happening. Well, guess what, bro? The last time he did it was during WWE when he was the WWE champion during the Kofi Mania. And we all know how overly heelish he was. And I got that sense. I started to feel like this is him being that heel again. So I like it. You need a good baby face. He's a Adam Hangman Page is the perfect baby face. And with the story that he did, I like where it's going. As far as the match goes, I could give this about maybe 2.5 to possibly 3. Anthony Floyo, what's yours?
I don't know much about this Brian Heel thing in ROH because I don't really follow ROH. I know MF
Oh,
does.
it was amazing. Basically, what he was doing tonight was just a little snippet of what he was doing at Ring of Honor. Like this was that's why I was like it was very reminiscent of Ring of Honor of what I saw here tonight.
That heel Danielson was basically a ball buster. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Absolutely. That I'm better than you and this and that. What he was doing, how he was poking the bear on Hangman. Oh yeah, that was Brian Danielson Ring of Honor, like straight up.
Holy heel turn, Batman. I mean, this came out of nowhere. I mean, I honestly thought it was gonna be two, ridiculously over and respected baby faces going out of here. But oh no, Brian took that away from us in an instant. But anyways, from a heat perspective, this had the Virginia fans ready to see Hangman kick Brian Danielson's ass. Brian Danielson suddenly and inexplicably switched gears, transitioning from a respected babyface with a love for wrestling into a very clear, antagonizing heel. There is no covering up for or suggesting he had any other explanation. He is a villain. Where that came from, how we got to this point, or why now are questions that should have been answered with a little bit of character development. Instead, he became a heel just because to facilitate the first title program. The match will be extraordinary whenever it happens. Hopefully, the creative leading to it can shine some light on Brian's sudden switch in attitude and demeanor. So, the match wasn't really much to speak of. Well, it was 2.5. I mean, was this a match warranting a 2.5-star rating? No, but it was a strong first appearance of Brian Danielson in the role of heel. He outclassed Evil Uno, taunted him, embarrassed him, and physically punished him en route to sending the first of many message to the champion Hangman Adam Page. The post-match promo set up weeks of television, with Danielson promising to unleash his wrath on every one of the champion's friends until he gets what he wants. It was a solid heel promo from a guy who hasn't had to cut one of those in 3 years, really, since he was the new Daniel Bryan in WWE. And let me tell you, Bullock and I had a lot of fun with that. Trust you me, we did. I'll get to that in a minute. It would still be nice to know why he suddenly and inexplicably made this tonal change in character. But heel American Dragon is a character that is very fresh since it has never been on a grand scale. This was a solid introduction. And what I'm getting at when it comes to the new Daniel Bryan, before Kofi Mania ended it, I mean, Bullock and I, all the fun we had, I mean, a lot of the things he would say, I mean, from fickle to ignorant to shame, and impotent, weak, submissive, change it. I mean, Bullock and I ate the new Daniel Bryan character up. But this heel Bryan is definitely one that MF is going to eat up. No doubt about that. I'm hopeful that the Hangman will get a solid run with the AEW title. But I'm very worried. I'm very worried now. I'm very worried that this new heel Bryan is gonna find a way to cheat and steal the title from the Hangman. And I just hope that it's not, like right away. So because Hangman deserves a solid run with this thing. He really does. I mean, all the other champions have had great runs. Very lengthy title range. Jericho had it for 182 days. Moxley had it for, I believe, 277, I think. And Omega just had it for the last 346. So I don't think Hangman's going to get close to any of those with the way this is going, but I do hope he gets a solid run with it, though. That's all I'm going to say. So, but whenever it happens, guys, I believe in my heart of hearts, and I got to be honest with you, I believe that Bryan Danielson is going to cheat and steal the title from him by nefarious means, and just like he did to AJ Styles 3 years ago, that set up the new Daniel Bryan character, and he'll become the 5th AEW World Heavyweight Champion soon enough. It's a damn shame it has to come at the expense of the Hangman, though. But hopefully it will not be, soon. But hey, if you put Hangman over, that's huge for him. That's huge. That'll be even bigger than Omega. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. The match was 2.5, but Michael Bullock, I mean, holy heel turn Batman. Where did this come from? That's the only thing I'm asking myself.
Maybe they did it out of the element of surprise to catch everyone off guard by making me be like, wait a minute, did this just really happen?
It worked.
So, and maybe somewhere down the line, Bryan Danielson will explain himself on it. So that's how I see it going down. But 2.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Florio. I'm starting to get worried. I mean, Adam Hangman Page just won the title, and I want to see him get a good run with it because he deserves it. But if this is the Bryan Danielson we're getting, I mean, I think he's going to find a way whenever he does get it he's going to cheat his way to the AEW World Title. So I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. Fletch. I got this funny feeling that this title run of Hangman Page might not last long if Bryan Danielson has anything to say about it.
Well, we'll wait and see. I'm a little more confident that that the Hangman will hold the belt for a little while longer, but we'll see. Next up we had was Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii. Yes, that Ishii, the Pitbull, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Chaos member, and yes, the brand new never open weight champion. He just won the title over the weekend, as a matter of fact, taking down Jay White, winning the title for, I believe they said, the 6th time in his career. He also was coming out with my boy Rocky Romero, Roppongi Vice, Roppongi 3K, Rocky Romero, and actually a one-time guy from Impact. I think he was an Impact Wrestling guy at one time, if I remember. I know I saw him on Lucha Underground too. I remember Rocky Romero.
Rocky Romero. Oh yeah, he's been on Impact Wrestling a couple times. He challenged Trey Miguel for the X Division Championship, and I think he was on the last show too.
Yeah. So Rocky Romero was in the house. He was riding with Ishii, and yes, when it was all said and done, they went up against the Butcher and the Blade, along with Matt Hardy and that devilish bunny. I'm not even gonna say anything. I could hear Florio right now. That's all I'm saying. When it was all said and done, Ishii and Cassidy wins the match in 9 minutes and 49 seconds. And, well, Florio, it's yours.
You're exactly everything you just said, MF, was exactly right when it comes to the bunny. I let out a little hey now. So that's been my little funny.
Started there, Fletch. All it took was a little something like for Florio to say, "Hey now."
Yeah. No big surprise.
MF knows that. I've done that with MF more than with Bullet, but
yeah.
But that was back when we were doing all those chats back in the day, like Bullock and I do now. But yeah, well, I don't know much about this Ishii guy. I mean, I know MF could easily drop 96, 97 JR knowledge on the guy. But man alive, my first time ever watching him wrestle, because I don't really follow New Japan. I mean, we know MF follows it more than anyone. But it was beyond cool to see Ishii on national television. But one has to wonder how much better received by fans he would have been in a bigger wrestling city. No disrespect to the fine folks in Norfolk, Virginia, of course. But with that said, he was presented here as a big deal, received the hot tag, and scored the win for him and Orange Cassidy. The match was very good, but the emotional impact was nullified by the fact that we have seen Cassidy battle the Hardy family office in so many different matches that the program has long outlived its usefulness. Hopefully, the outcome here is enough to bring the feud to an end, because it has certainly run its course. Kudos to Butcher and the Blade, who remain one of the more underrated teams in AEW. Blade, I know him very well. Impact Wrestling product known as Braxton Sutter, is quietly consistent, a strong worker who can work any style against any opponent and deliver. The Butcher, who I don't really know much about except for the fact that he looks like an old school actor comedian from the late 80s who guest starred on a few episodes of Full House, a gentleman by the name of Bruce Baum. And if Bruce Baum had a son, I swear that would be him, because he looks so much like Bruce Baum. Look him up. But the Butcher hung in there with one of the most physical wrestlers on the planet and never backed down. A great showing for both heels. So it was definitely a treat for me to see Ishii. This is my first time ever seeing him. I'm not at all surprised MF knows who he is. I mean, MF could easily drop, like I said, he could easily drop 96, 97 JR knowledge on this guy. And, but yeah, the Forbidden Door is open again. But before I give it to Bullock, 3 stars or so for the match. About at least 3, maybe 3.25. It's right around that range. But before I give it to Bullock, a question for MF. MF, I don't know much about this stuff, but I do know for a fact, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't the leader of this Chaos group the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada?
Yes, it is. And at the time, the original leader of Chaos was Shinsuke Nakamura. Before Nakamura left to WWE, he gave the reins over to Okada. So yes, Okada's the leader, but the original leader was actually Shinsuke Nakamura.
There's that 96, 97 JR knowledge right there. There's a perfect example of that. And MF, where I'm getting at is, what are the chances? This is the question now. What are the chances of us possibly one day, getting the Rainmaker on AEW television?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, the Forbidden Door would really have to be, man, that's tough. That's a tough. But I will say this: if the Hardy family compound pushes the issue a little more, maybe, just maybe, you might have them bring out the Rainmaker. I mean, but you would really have to really do something in order to cause it. But I don't know. I mean, if they do that, I mean, but then again, we literally saw what was I gonna say? We literally saw Minoru Suzuki run out the back, run through that Forbidden Doors, and he's one of the biggest names, at least to date. He's one of the biggest names to go through the Forbidden Door. Jay White went through the Forbidden Door in Impact Wrestling. For Impact, that's their biggest name to date, because you're talking about two guys who are former heavyweight champions. And as far as Minoru Suzuki, he's the former heavyweight champion in Pro Wrestling Noah, and of course Jay White is a former IWGP heavyweight champion. So yes, if you get the Rainmaker, if you get Okada to jump, oh my freaking God, I'd be in tears. Like,
mark out.
Yeah.
That's your boy.
You have to hold me back.
That's
you
your boy.
literally have to hold me back.
I know how much you love him, MF.
Because Okada's it would be like when Nakamura debuted on SmackDown Live. Like I literally will say it. It would be like a couple of nights after WrestleMania, that infamous night in Orlando when Nakamura debuted for the first time on SmackDown during the Miz and Maurice's promo.
Yes.
And you know how the place blew, and you know my reaction to that. If I ever hear the drop of the coin and that Okada music, I'm losing it. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and folks, let me tell you, if this does happen, MF will not hesitate. He will inject all of us with that dose of 96, 97 JR knowledge. Believe that. Because MF knows everything about Okada.
I mean, without a doubt, if you think about it, if there's a Mount Rushmore of New Japan of the 2000s, Okada's one of them. Tanahashi is one of them. You could even make an argument for, like, without a doubt, the best of the best of the best. You know, right now there's 3 guys, maybe 4, that you can consider the faces of New Japan. Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, and Kota Ibushi right now. That's the core 4.
That is a core
of New Japan. With Jay White, even though I hate his flipping guts.
Of course.
And I'll say this. There's on Saturday night during the event when Jay Lethal showed up, one of my guys absolutely flipped, not in a good way either. Like, he went nuclear bomb on Jay Lethal, telling him to F this guy, and he has a point. He has a real legit point for saying what he said. I'm not going to get into it because that's for another night, and that's for a private chat.
Right. But so. I was just curious. I mean, because Derek did a video, posted a video last Saturday or sometime last week with Rocky Romero and the Best Friends when Rocky Romero recruited them into Chaos, and
yes,
and he titled that video, "Is Kazuchika Okada heading to AEW?" I mean, he shows up. I mean, we're gonna literally have to hose MF down. That's all there is to say about. I mean,
you might have to get a hold of Ferreira too, because Ferreira is a big fan of Okada. He respects Okada. Him and I know each other enough that we know the greatest of the greats. Tanahashi is one of them. Okada is one of them. Agreed. Oh my God. I just thought of something.
Yes.
Toriano. Oh no.
I don't know who that is, but.
Oh no. That would be campy comedy times 1,000 if this guy shows up.
Oh, Ruh-Roh.
Oh, Ruh-Roh indeed. This guy is. Him and Cole Cabana has history. him and Colt Cabana were partners in Ring of Honor. And I'll say this: if Toru Yano shows up, oh no,
look out!
Oh no,
that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing.
It would be comedy up 1,000.
And almost like that that young girl from Japan, that singing idol girl. Almost like her in a sense. You know that female Japanese wrestler who came in and did all that silly singing before the match.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I guess you can go there with that.
But anyways, before this gets out of control here, 3 to 3.25 stars for the match, and I'll tell you, MF, this Ishii guy, I was very impressed with what I saw. I liked what I saw, so I wouldn't mind seeing more of him. So a nice showing for the brand new never openweight champion. And I know when you got the word about that, I know you must have had. I mean, you were probably going just as nuts for that than you did for your Braves when they won the World Series. So we all know. I know for a fact you cannot stand Jay White, and I know you were like, good. I'm glad that piece of bleep got what he deserved. So
yeah, I'll go with that. But come on, man. The Braves were a lot. Like
that's even bigger.
That's even bigger.
Yeah. Yep, and as we all know, he's the smile has not left his face. The only way it will is if you surgically remove it. Like Jerry the King. So that's
I get to keep celebrating up until April. Then the brand new season begins and it's back to business.
April 7th. Mark that date down. That's the home opener.
Yeah.
So against Cincinnati.
Yep.
So when the Reds come in, that's when the banner goes up. MF will be. I know MF will be all over that with the radio and all that. So the local things. So there isn't much more to say on this. 3 to 3.25 stars. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, I apologize for the delay, but I was just very curious to see what MF thought because we all know he's all over New Japan. That's his Bible, if you will. So Bullock, what did you think of Tomohiro Ishii, the new never open weight champion? First time I ever got to see him. Bullock, what did you think about it? I thought he looked very good. Bullock, are you there? I think we might have lost him.
We lost Mike? Oh, damn. All right. Well, with that said, then we'll just move right on along. Well, actually, let me get my quick. Or did I? Oh,
nope, we got him. We got him.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry for the delay there, Bullock. What do you think of this Ishii?
I actually had to step. I actually had to step away for a minute, so didn't really matter that much.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so what did you think of Tomohiro Ishii? I mean, never open weight champion.
I thought he looked good. Yeah, I thought he looked really good. I mean, good first showing. I mean, for me to see him. I mean, it was everything what we expected out of him. So I'll give it about 3.25. So nothing more to say, Fletch. I give it to you now.
Yeah. Even though I never got a chance to talk about 3 stars, and I'm not gonna waste any more time, but I will say this quickly. This guy has done it all. Just to give a little bit of accolades, just the majors. Former tag team champion with Toru Yano, former IWGP World Tag Team Champion. Like we said, he's also a never open weight 6-man tag team champion. One time with Toru Yano and Trent Beretta. The other one with Hiroshi Gomi and Yoshihashi. And of course, the current reigning 6-time never open weight champion, and he was also Ring of Honor World Television Champion at one time in his career. Wrestling Newsletter Best Brawler from 2014 through 2019, and Best Brawler of the Decade for the 2010s for Ishii. And like you said, all the members of the Best Friends, Wheeler Yuta, Trent, Chucky T, Orange Cassidy, they are, yes indeed, now members of Chaos. And that is a big thing because of the fact that with what's happening now, maybe if this Hardy thing starts to get a little crazy and they pick a fight, maybe that could possibly do the unthinkable and bring out Okada. Normally Okada doesn't come out unless it's mandatory, unless he needs to come out. He kind of try to let his soldiers fight the fight while he's worrying about other things. Plus, he's got a major fight coming up, January 4, Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to be fighting Shingo Takashi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He won the G1 Climax Tournament 32, which now guarantees him a title shot at the world title January 4, 2022 at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. But now, back to AEW. Next up we had was Hakado Cheetah versus Nyla Rose. Quarterfinals of the TBS title tournament. Nyla Rose advances 11 minutes and 27 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours. Bullock?
Bullock, are you there? We just had you. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm here. What were we talking about here? I just got distracted for a moment.
Nyla Rose versus Hakado Cheetah. Rose advances in 11:27.
Yeah, I thought it was a fine match here. I mean, I'll give it about maybe another 3.25 for this. But yeah, I mean, Nyla Rose moving on in the tournament to become the TBS champion. So, I mean, many people thought maybe a Hikaru Shida would move on, but I think because she had this pretty good run as the AEW Women's World Champion, they figured she really doesn't need that belt. So maybe Nyla Rose moving on was probably the right call. So that's how I feel. Fletch, what says you?
Yeah, I think so. 3.25, solid match. Nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose may have the top rivalry in the short history of AEW, dating back to their many clashes for the women's title over the last year. They have experience as opponents and have developed strong in-ring chemistry, which was on full display here. What started a bit choppy really picked up with Shida's comeback spot, Serena Deeb's interference, and a refreshing old-school finisher from the native beast. Considering Ruby Soho or Chris Statlander awaited the winner in the semifinals, it makes sense that the heel went over. Beyond that, it continued the Cheetah Deeb feud, which should result in a hell of a match when they finally clash next. Another 3.25 star match here, so not much more to say. MF, let's move on.
All right, next up that we have here is going to be Lio Rush and Dante Martin going up against the Acclaim. Dante Martin and Lio Rush wins the match in 10 minutes and 47 seconds. This was all right. This was a solid fight. This was about, maybe you could probably say about 2.75 to 3. I thought it was solid. Good for what it was worth, and yeah, nothing more to add. So, Anthony Floyd, what's yours?
Yeah. Dante Martin and Lio Rush continue to make a dynamic tag team that captivates audiences with their ability to do things in the ring that no one else can. The Acclaimed, conversely, has back up a great gimmick with ever-evolving in-ring abilities. The two teams meshed well here in what was a fun, energetic match that led right into the Team Taz cliffhanger. Another solid 3-star match for me. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
I think I actually started off on it.
Yes, he did. So, All right. So with that said, we're just gonna move right on along, guys, and we are going to the main event of the evening: Sammy Guevara versus Jay Lethal for the TNT title. Sammy Guevara successfully defends the title. Um, Great match, solid main event, incredible matchup for me. This was about three and a half stars. Fight of the night for me. These guys really knew how to uh, deploy, do a great matchup. There's really nothing more for me to add or for me to say. So, winner of the bout is still the TNT champion, Sammy Guevara. Anthony Florio, what's yours?
What was the time of the fall?
12 minutes and 10 seconds.
All right. Fight of the night for me, 3.5 stars, teetering on 3 3/4. This was a gutsy performance from Sammy Guevara, who looks double tough for beating a world-renowned star on just 4 days of rest, despite a severe rib injury. The Spanish God has repeatedly performed up to the moment throughout his career, and this was no different. That he consistently sold the ribs, something he may not have done 2 years ago when he first arrived in AEW, is an indication of how much he has grown as a performer. For Jay Lethal, this was a strong introduction to his work for AEW fans. Bullock, precise, smart, and physical, he knocked his first showing with the company out of the proverbial park. If there is one complaint, it was the lack of attention paid to the obviously injured body part of Guevara, with Excalibur covering for the questionable figure four. Still, a very good match that highlighted the participants and wrapped up a solid episode on a high note. I know Jay Lethal, going back to his TNA Impact Wrestling days, multi-time X Division champion, one of the most recognizable names in the history of that company. Of course, the one thing that really got him over was when he had the Black Machismo gimmick. When he was their version of Macho Man Randy Savage. He did the impression spot on. It's like if you closed your eyes, you would think it really was Randy Macho Man Savage doing it, but it was him. And and none of us will ever forget is that epic and legendary verbal exchange he had with the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair on an Impact Wrestling show. You gotta go on YouTube and see it. I mean, if you haven't already, because that, oof, I still get chills watching that anytime. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. This was the fight of the night. So there isn't much more to say. Michael Bullock, another first time. Jay Lethal, this is a guy I know more about because he was in Impact Wrestling and he was one of the greatest X Division champions that company ever had and one of the greatest performers they ever had. And so Jay Lethal, man, how did he look to you? I bet you were as impressed as I've been all these years.
Oh, I was definitely impressed with Jay Lethal. I mean, now I can see why, Florio, you were really that much into Jay Lethal during his time in Impact Wrestling, and
you better
boy
believe.
howdy, I mean, he really gave Sammy Guevara a run for his money, and yeah, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star, fight of the night. I mean, just seeing these two face off for that title was just unbelievable, and you saw afterwards the inner circle basically coming in to support him, and you just saw afterwards the handshake between Sammy Guevara and Jay Lethal. Tremendous respect for each other, and then the inner circle and Jay Lethal basically both raising their hands together, and yeah, you could just tell that they have tremendous respect for one another. So nice win here, nice match here. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Tremendous match, no doubt about it. I think we pretty much summed it up here. Overall review now, and I believe it goes to Anthony. Anthony, you lead off on the overall review.
7.5 to 8 is the rating for this. I mean, all the matches were solid to good to great. I mean, throw in a couple of good. I mean, throwing that amazing promo segment with Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson with the surprise heel turn from Bryan. I mean, that was awesome. And another great segment, CM Punk and MJF. Whoa, that could end up being something really fun. I mean, Punk disrespecting MJF by rendering him unworthy of a verbal beatdown was great stuff, and only further plays on the heel's need for attention. And he has an unquenchable thirst to prove he get in the head of his opponent. Instead, it was Punk who got into his by barely acknowledging him, instead laughing off the idea of doing so. That feud and the ensuing promos are about to be straight fire, and we are all in line for a phenomenal run of television on that. So throw in those two great segments, and all the matches were solid to good to great. I mean, I didn't really see any bad matches on this show. So I believe 7.5, teetering on 8 out of 10, I believe is the correct rating for this. Hands down better than NXT, far and away. Get used to that. We're going to be saying that a lot in coming weeks and months. So not much more for me to say on this. Great post Full Gear edition of AEW Dynamite, and it's onward and upwards to Rampage Friday night. So 7.5 to 8. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 7.5 to 8 for me. I mean, this was another good edition of AEW Dynamite. I mean, I didn't really see anything that bad. And yeah, you brought up the promo with CM Punk and MJF. I mean, that was something really good there. And basically, yeah, and I got a little message for MJF. If he thinks he's going to get in the head of the best in the world, CM Punk, he's got another thing coming. I mean, Punk has played this game so many times, and I'm pretty sure he sees MJF as just another prime example. So MJF, you better keep your words soft and sweet, because you might have to eat those words later on. So nothing more to say. 7.5 to 8. Fletch, take it home.
7.5 for me. I thought this was a solid show, no doubt about it. I think we pretty much summed everything up on this show. So guys, we're done. Tomorrow night is another edition of College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio. And we got some very good matchups coming in the college ranks. Friday night is a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we got SmackDown Live, we got Rampage, we're previewing Survivor Series, Saturday, NFL Saturday, per the usual, Sunday, the recap of Survivor Series. So we're going to be busy for the next few nights, guys. So with that said, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night. For all of us here, for Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. We'll see you tomorrow night.